About 50 years ago, I'd never come back to Oklahoma again. Here I am. So why is that? Well, I was living in a place very close to Lawton. Anybody ever heard of Fort Sill? A few people have. I spent nearly a year at Fort Sill when I was in the service in the Army, and I went to, it's called AIT, Advanced Individual Training and Officer Candidate School at Fort Sill. That's been a long time ago. Anyway, a lot of water has passed under the bridge since then, including a wonderful trip to Kosovo back in January and early February of this year. So the title of the presentation is Mission Goodwill Kosovo. For those of you who have seen the expedition pictures before and the like, there are no boats, there's no waves, there's no icebergs, okay? So just be aware of that, okay? Okay, over the years, there's been about 12 new DXCC entities added to the DXCC list. And here's some of the DXCC entities. And these were all, had some involvement of my friend Marty Lina, OH2BH. Anybody ever hear of Marty out here? A few people have, DXs especially. Pardon me? You've worked him, yeah. And here, oops, uh-oh, how do I go back? If I remember, there we go. This is Marty and Lena, OH2BH and OH2BE. Very good friends of mine. They live in Espoo, Finland, which is very close to Helsinki. And I first met them back in 1972. That's what, 46 years ago in Finland after I got out of the service and was traveling around Europe. And Marty and I have been very, very good friends ever since then. Here's Vjoka Kata. Vjoka is the president of the Kosovo Amateur Radio Society. And I might add, she's also a member of YLRL. And she was one of the people that was responsible for us getting over there, and she did a lot in terms of making us feel like we weren't just foreigners coming in. And then, of course, Mute is the operator, is one of the operators. Okay, where is Kosovo? How many of you have heard of Kosovo, first of all? Oh, look at this. Everybody's heard about Kosovo almost. Well, Kosovo, of course, is a small landlocked country in the Balkan area of Europe. It's located close to Serbia and Macedonia and where else? Montenegro and Albania. And it's got about 2 million people living there. The language, I was very surprised about this, is basically Albanian. Kosovo and Albania essentially are cousins. Lots of commonality between the peoples of both countries. Back on February 17th in 2008, they declared their independence from Serbia, and they've been a country now for a little over 10 years. When they declared their independence, they were recognized by President Bush. Bush and the U.S. State Department as a sovereign nation. There they are, down there in the very southwestern or southeastern part of Europe. And they're there, they're a little bit larger picture. The capital of Kosovo is Pristina, and it's bordered, as I say, by Serbia mainly. They were part of Serbia since the end of World War II, part of the old Yugoslavia, as were most of these countries around them, Croatia and Slovenia and Bosnia, Montenegro, and the like. The little country up above, the little place up above that says Vojvodina, that is a place that was very close, very similar to Kosovo in terms of their relationship to Serbia. But they've decided to stay with Serbia, stay within that realm, where Kosovo and these other countries have declared their independence. Okay, these are the people who are working on this project, Goodwill Kosovo. around the country who's been working on this over the years. My involvement was back in the early 2000s, looking at the change in the DXCC rules, and also looking at how we could modify the rules back to the way they used to be, so Kosovo and similar entities would count as DXC countries. As I said, the capital city is Pristina. A very nice city. They recovered from the war. The war was back in 1998 and 1999, where the Serbs came in, and at that time they bombed a lot of the people that they called the insurgents, who wanted to make Kosovo a separate country. In 1999, the NATO forces came in to Kosovo, and there was quite a fight. Over 12,000 Kosovars were killed. There's still a couple thousand missing. Obviously, they're presumed dead. The war started out in the countryside because that's where the people that were looking for independence were living out in the country. When the NATO forces came in, the Serbs who were fighting the Kosovars moved into the cities, and so the cities were bombed by NATO. So there's been a lot of building up in the city, and as you can see some cranes there, there's a lot of construction going on in the city, and you'll see some other pictures of the city as I go along. This is Independence Day in Kosovo, February 17th, 2008. A time of wonderful celebration for the Kosovars. And this is 10 years later. This is February 17th, 2018, just after I was there. You can see the signs of the flags up above for the 10th anniversary of Kosovo. There's a Kosovan flag. They have a flag, they have a national anthem. They're recognized by 105 members of the UN. They're recognized by the U.S. State Department, and they're hoping to be one of these days to be part of the European community. QSL cards, 2008. The first actual amateur operation from there was YU8. That's their little call sign. And here's a call sign that we used for the operation back in January and February, Zulu 60 Alpha. Anybody work Zulu 50 Alpha?
160.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. During the contest?
No, I worked them outside.
Outside the contest. Anybody else from Kosovo? A few back there and back. Good. The Finns were very, very closely involved in the Kosovo independence. They worked very, very closely, as I say. There was a roadmap for Kosovo by the former president of Finland called the Ashitari Plan for Kosovo. Talked about international treaties and talked about making them a member of the society. Kosovo should remain under international supervision for an unspecified period of time, but should gradually acquire the trappings of statehood, such as a flag, an anthem, constitution, and a NATO-trained army. Sign international treaties and the like. And it's interesting because they do have a flag, as you saw, they do have an anthem, but the anthem is just music. So far they have no words yet to the anthem. Talked about hams without a country. For a while, Kosovo was the only group of people in the world that didn't count as anything. They didn't count as Serbia, they didn't count as Kosovo, they just got on the air and worked them and they counted as nothing. Okay, the Mission Goodwill Kosovo is what happened from 2008 through 2018 when they got their independence. They had to get a regulatory base for amateur radio. They had to figure out what amateur radio was and work with the Kosovo government about how to regulate and how to create amateur radio in Kosovo. They had to have a local association, which was done in 2012 when VOFIT and others in the Kosovo community formed the SHRAK, the Society of Radio Amateurs in Kosovo. How do you recruit hams? Well, Kosovo has a very, very young population. Over half the population is under 35. So people had to get used to what amateur radio was. And this is what Marty and others were working on. International regulation, they became a member of the ITU. Equipment and material, when they gained their independence, or just prior to gaining independence, the search came in and confiscated all the equipment that they had. So there was no equipment, no antennas in Kosovo at all. International learning and travel. What they have to do, well, people had to understand who the country was and who the people were. And finally, the XCC recognition, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. This is one of the first meetings of the group trying to look at the regulations for amateur radio in Kosovo. Our friend Marty is there on the right-hand side, the third one over, and other people from the countryside. Just trying to figure out what is this thing called amateur radio and how can it benefit people. Okay, let's look back at the history of Kosovo. You're part of the Ottoman Empire. The Ottoman ceded Kosovo and Montenegro to Serbia. It was combined into Yugoslavia, as I said. There was the ethnic cleansing war in Kosovo. The UN and NATO was called in to help end this civil war and this ethnic cleansing. When I got there, I didn't know this, but there's still quite a NATO group of people there, over 4,000 people, trying to keep the peace. So it's not totally calm yet. It's just because of the various forces that are over there. Here's the people behind the success of Kosovo. The former president, Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton is the guy that worked with NATO to get NATO troops in there to help end the war. And as I said before, Marty Ashitari, the former president of Finland, coming up with the plan. Over the last 10 years, they've had people from the Olympics, singers, and the like, and again, recognizing Kosovo as a place with real people. There are real people living there. It's amazing. Okay, as I said before, they used to be YU8. There was some sporadic amateur radio operation, mainly from out of the country, mainly from Finland. And in the time between 2007 and 2018, the Mission Goodwill Kosovo, the group that I was part of, was established. 10 licenses were issued in 2012. 2014, 50 hams were licensed. They gained ARU membership in 2015, and I was one of the people of the league that voted yes in terms of Kosovo membership. On January 21st, 2018, this year, the XCC status was granted to Kosovo, and the age of the pirates on the air ended. Well, we think it ended. Because Kosovo took the next call sign block available from the ITU, Zulu 6. He said, well, these people are pirates. That's not an official call sign from the ITU. And I'll explain that a little bit later. There were licenses activated, and some people got their license. And then the bottom picture, the fourth person from the right is Yoka. She was one of the first people licensed over there. The main operation for Kosovo right now, the headquarters for the club in Kosovo, is the Pristina Technical University. That's the student center of the university, and the operation place that we had was from down a little bit south of there to the east. There's ham training at the engineering facility with Z62FB, the guy in the blue sweater, Ferme, and then there's Bioka there at his left. As you see, there's lots of students involved. With the country being 50% under 35, obviously they're a draw from those people. And if you notice, there's lots of YLs there. Over half the club is YLs. And they have 125 people as part of the club right now.
What if YLs also like engineers or engineering students?
A lot of them are engineering, because this is a technical school. A lot of them are studying engineering.
Do you know what they're saying?
Pardon me?
Do you know what fields?
All over the place. There's a picture later on of Don actually studying to be a mechanical and a civil engineer. Vioka is an electrical engineer. So they have all the engineering disciplines are taught there. So the number of younger people, the number of ladies are part of the makeup of the amateur radio community in Kosovo. More of the young people. Once they became a member of the IARU, the International Amateur Radio Union, they had a meeting in Leipzig, Germany in 2017. Kosovo was there. There's Vioka's call sign and the flag from Kosovo. People from all over the world are there, including the sheik from the Gulf area and YLs. There's Vioka. There's the fellow from the Kosovo Regulatory Society that approved amateur radio, and Marti. This is Hans, Papa Bravo 2 Tango. Hans is the Region 1 representative, which is Europe, to the IARU. And again, very instrumental in getting all this stuff going in Europe to get Kosovo their initial licenses. When I walked around town, which wasn't very often because we were very busy operating, it was interesting because there were American flags there, and as I was walking down the street, people would stop me and ask me if I was from America. I said, yes. The first couple of times I was kind of queasy about doing that, but after a while, it became very nice because they were saying thank you all the time, thank you for being here. They don't see too many tourists yet, and they see many less Americans walking around. And so it's nice to be in a place overseas when people would thank you and people would come and greet you and say hi and welcome to our country. So these are some of the other groups that helped with this project. Northern California DX Foundation, he was lending gas and DX engineering and the like. I saw that picture before. Okay, this presentation was gave at the Visalia DX convention in April. Marty had the first part, Vioka had the second part, and I had the third part. So this is my part. This is kind of the ARRL part. Back in 1935, Clinton DeSoto laid out the basis for the DX Century Club Award, the 100 Country Award, and the basic rule was simple. Each discrete geographical or political entity is considered to be a country for DXCC purposes. DXCC had its fair share of political issues from the end of World War II until the year 2000. And in terms of making the country or the award more meaningful, the DXCC group got together and they proposed changes to the rules. And those changes were adopted by the board in 1998, becoming effective in 2000. It worked okay for a couple of years, and then there was a group of Japanese that tried to make a country out of an American protectorate, and so they went back in and they deleted one of the rules, one of the IARU membership rules, they being the board of directors of the ARL. I was the vice director then, so I wasn't part of this, so you can't blame me for the change in the rules. The only criteria for membership in DXCC then, starting in 2004, was number one, call sign allocation by the ITU, and also UN membership. So that went on for about 14 years. People went back and forth between the U.S. and Kosovo. This is Bernie McClinney on the left, W3UR. He publishes the Daily DX. If anybody is a DXer, he gets the Daily DX. And the person on the right is Wayne Mills at 7NG. There are lots of people involved in this activity trying to get Kosovo in the air. And Bernie and Wayne were a big part of it also. Over on the right is a copy of the Liberty, Miss Liberty, that's on Ellis Island, but now they have one also in Kosovo. As I was going to the airport, I said, oh look, I'm in New York. No, this is Kosovo. This is downtown Kosovo on the main street. Buildings were all modern because the downtown area of Pristina was severely bombed in 1999. This is a sports complex. Some of the newer buildings. The statue is commemorating the general in one of the armies back in the 1400s that helped liberate Kosovo from the Ottomans. Mother Teresa Church in downtown Kosovo. Very interesting because Kosovo, for the most part, is a Orthodox country, Greek Orthodox, and I'm surprised to see a Catholic church there. Very, very large Catholic church with all the usual trappings. The stained glass and the they even have their Pizza Hut. Okay, now to the radio portion of the operation. As I mentioned, Kosovo became an official DXCC entity at midnight on January 21st, day after Shirley's birthday. So you can blame her, it's her birthday present. We were traveling in southern Washington, heading over to our son and daughter-in-law and granddaughter's house in Spokane. And I got a message, came through on the phone. The message was from Marty, my old friend Marty, OH2BH. And he says, Jim, he says, now that Kosovo is a country, would you come over and help us put on the first operation? Well, we were over to Spokane for a couple of days. We drove home on the 22nd. I got on the internet on the 23rd to book a trip. I left on the 24th and got to Kosovo on the 25th. So this happened very, very quickly. Marty and Dryton, Zulu 61DX picked me up at the airport, and we stayed out here at this hotel. Hooray. It was cold that morning when we got here. It was 17 degrees, and it was windy. Well, prior to getting there, the Finnish guys were there, needed to put the antenna up on the roof. So a combination of the Finns and of the Kosovars decided, let's put the antenna up here as high as we can get it. The hotel, lots of construction at the hotel. They were experiencing, or they were hoping to see lots of new tourists coming in, so they're expanding the hotel, doubling the overall size. And there's part of the construction. You see the antenna on the roof. How do they get the antenna on the roof? How many of you know of guys from Finland, hams from Finland? Okay. The Finns are very resourceful. They put antennas every place. Finland is a country with lots of lakes and lots of granite boulders. We've been there a couple times, and they anchor their tower to granite boulders rather than dig holes in the ground, because you're not going to move those 4 and 5 and 6 ton granite boulders. Well, they're on top of a building here with a concrete floor. What do? Well, you just drill a hole in the floor, you bolt the tower, 2 bolts down in the concrete, and up it goes. So they had a 70-foot tower there bolted to the top of the hotel, up in the roof, and guide to rebar coming through. Worked out just fine. So we're ready to hit the air. There's the first team that was in Kosovo. People from Kosovo itself, from Norway. From Norway, from the Netherlands, from Finland, from Slovenia, from, let's see, where else they're from. I guess that's it. That's the countries that were first represented. Here we are, myself and Martin. Henry and Jaakko from Finland. Tina, Sugar 50 Alpha from Slovenia. When I got to the hotel from the airport, walked into the restaurant in the hotel, and I saw this guy, Tina, and he says, "Jim, what are you doing here?" I says, "Tina, what are you doing here?" Because Shirley and I were visiting in Slovenia last summer and met Tina and his wife. And after knowing them for many, many years, that's one thing that's great about amateur radio, is the people that you meet. I got the group here, of course, and all friends. We've done a lot of international travel, and we've met hams all over the world. And you're treated like long lost relatives. I first met Tina 30 years ago. I was stationed in Germany on a business trip. And a friend of mine, DK3GI, I was staying at his house. He got a hold of Tina and said, "Jim's coming." He said, "Well, I'll drive up." So he drove up from Slovenia 30 years ago to meet me. Here we are, 30 years later. We met him at their house last summer. And suddenly here we are, 6 months later in Slovenia. I'm sorry, in Kosovo. He came down from Slovenia. And operating from the same place. Myself again and Nigel, G3DXF. Very good CW operator from England. A couple guys from Germany, Dietmar and Andreas. Very, very busy operator. There at the operating table is Ogden, Z61AS, and Drickon, Z61DX, standing there. Donna, Z63DBB. Donna was 22, she's an engineering student. This is the gal I mentioned before, that is majoring in mechanical and civil engineering. Very cute young girl. Just after Lee left, actually it was the actual celebration of the independence on the 17th of February this year. She was given a radio donated by Yezu, so she's going to be operating from her home place. She says, "I don't care much about this DX and stuff. I don't care much about it. I want to talk to young ladies all over the world." So hopefully some of you maybe have worked her. I think she's gotten on the air a little bit. There's where the station was located. That's at the university. You can see the antenna back there on the roof on the right, and a close-up of the antenna. This is from the headquarters station there at the university. That's Hans. And Oli, OH0XX. Oli is from Finland, but he's lived all over the world. He's lived in Panama, he's lived in Colombia, he's lived in Brazil. Very interesting character. With Sandro, the E7NY. Sandro lives in Vancouver, British Columbia, but he's originally from Romania. And Francesco, IK0FBC, is from Rome, Italy. Interesting guy. He's an attorney. He works at the Vatican. He's the Pope's attorney, so he tells us. And he has his own private call sign from the Vatican. Hotel Victor Zero Alpha is his personal call sign. Now, I worked that station. I figured it was a club station, but no, that's his personal call sign. So Shirley and I have an invite to come over next summer. Come over, visit Rome. Have you ever been to Rome? No? Okay, we'll come over and visit. I'll take you on a tour of Rome, take you on a tour of the Vatican. I says, well, if we come all the way over there, can we meet the Pope? He says, possibly. So we'll see what happens over the years. Okay. When we got to the operating positions, which were at the hotel and at the university, the noise was horrible. The noise, for the most part, especially at night, was S9 plus. Very, very loud. Hard to copy signals through it. During the day, it was pretty tough too. Now, my
my role was to work with as many Americans as I possibly could. Being a new country, everybody's calling you. And so we had a very short window of time on 20 meters when I could work back to the States. Back to the West Coast was especially hard. I didn't realize how hard it was going to be. Having operated from Europe for a couple of years when I was in the service, more than a few years ago, I thought I knew propagation, but this is the low of the sunspot cycle. And therefore it was quite hard to work back to the States. So after I left, I was only there for a week, but after I left, I went to a different location that didn't have this bad problem with the noise as it did. This is an old, I'd say abandoned house, although I don't know if it really is abandoned or not. But they went out here and they found a place to operate. Those are pot marks on the side of the wall from bombs and from bullets. So this was right in the midst of the war, where this house was damaged. They put an antenna over at the side, and they got on the air, and there was no noise. And that's probably where you worked from for 160 meters from this QDH here. What they did is they put up a number of beverage antennas. Everybody knows what a beverage is. It's a long wire, hundreds of feet long. And there's a field next to this building, and they put this thing out in the field, different directions around. And when the Kosovars came the next day to look over the station and see how things were going, they were very proud that they worked into the States and know the world in 160 meters. Where's your antenna? Well, we took it out in this field. You did what? We took it out in this field, and you're still alive. There's still mines out there in that field. We have to clear the whole mines. That was quite interesting, obviously, for them, but nobody was hurt. Guess what? They didn't go out and retrieve the antennas. The house was quite cold. They had these heaters in place, and they operated from there. For almost 3 weeks, they operated from there. Okay, there were about 25 people invited from all over the world to operate. They came in waves. The first group of people was about 10. I was one of that group, and as I say, I was only there for a week. And then we were replaced by some Germans, and we were replaced by some Spanish, and some guys from Ireland, and more guys from England. There were gals that were operating, but they were mainly local Kosovars. So we had almost 100,000 contacts, even with the bad conditions. 64% obviously were Europe. 24% from the USA. It's incredible how loud the Italians are in Europe. Even on 20 meters, it's only a couple hundred miles away to Italy. It must be running lots of power. So, logbook of the world as of this time, which was back in April, had over 52,000 confirmations on logbook. Kosovo. So we welcome the Republic of Kosovo to the world of DXCC. A lot of fun. Recent events. People still call Kosovo a bootleg country. Why? Because the ITU does not recognize Kosovo, that's it, as a call sign. They control the call sign allocations, and they never assigned Kosovo a call sign. Why? Kosovo's not a UN member. Why aren't they a UN member? Well, the Russians are part of the UN Security Council. They have the vote. There's 5 permanent members, and they can control what goes on in the UN. Because the Russians are trying to get back into Europe and have closer allies in Europe, and Serbia would like to be part of the Russian group rather than the NATO group. Serbia is courting the Serbs, and therefore they will not allow Kosovo membership to pass through the Security Council. The ITU is a UN agency, so they do what the UN says. So there's no real official call sign designation for Kosovo. Z6 was the next on the ITU list.
Some people have said, well, Kosovo then is not legal. Well, what's the definition of legal? Kosovo is not part of the UN because of the Russians and the Serbs, and so they don't have the call sign allocation. Are they a real country? Well, yes. They're recognized by 105 members of the UN. They're recognized by the US State Department. There's 2 million people living there. Why aren't they a real country? Back in January of this year, the DXCC rule changed. Again, I've been working on this change now for 5 or 6 years, both as the Northwestern Division Director and as an ARL Vice President. Okay, we got the rule change in. The new ARL DXCC rules state that a DXCC entity exists if the entity is a member of the ITU. This is the rule that was changed before. This is the rule that was done away with in 2004 because of some issues with American Samoa and Japanese. And this is the new portion of the rule. Notice there's an and. Have to do both. The entity is recognized as a sovereign nation by the U.S. State Department. And this happened just after the country of Kosovo declared their independence. Under the old rules, before they were changed in 2004, Kosovo and other similar places like that would have counted. But in this 14-year time frame, they didn't count. So again, we welcome Kosovo to the world of amateur radio and the XCC. Hope you enjoyed this presentation. I tried not to make it too much radio things and pictures of antennas and the like, just the one. But it was an awful lot of fun being there. Yes, you have a
I
question?
have a question. So, I work on feedback. My main interest was 160. There was a lot of noise on 160, I was told, which is why I went to the really dark together. What do you think was called? LED lights or something?
We think back when we first started, the problem was with both LED and with street lights, the vapor lights was the problem. Before they started the operation out there, they didn't have any problem at all with interference. And we were there for a few hours and the interference like that started. They looked all over. They don't have any transistor radios there. They don't have any broadcast stations that they can listen to the radio. I thought, well, if we had AM radio, we could go and sniff out the noise, but they didn't have those.
Yeah, the other thing I was thinking of was the delivery jack in the military or something.
Prior to the independence, prior to when they countered the DXCC, they were getting lots of interference, probably from Serbia and from Russia, before they actually earned the XCC. It's amazing because on January 21st, when they became a DXCC entity, most of that jamming stopped. Go figure.
Jim, hi. My husband and I had the pleasure of meeting you and your wife last night, and you were saying that you can speak some German.
Yeah.
Did that help any over in Kosovo? What language did you use with all the camps?
The actual Kosovars, as in most of Europe, they speak English. English is really it's their third language. The first language is Kosovar, which is very closely related to the Albanian language. And then all the young people learn English. That's just part of what's going on in Europe right now. They all do English. I didn't use German at all when I was there.
What about exams? How did they handle that?
Pardon me?
Exams.
Couldn't hear you.
Exams.
The exams, I think, are all, well, I don't know, I'm not sure. That's a good question, I'll have to find that out. If anybody has any interest in finding out more about Kosovo and the history, look on Wikipedia under Kosovo. It's 44 pages long, it's very interesting in terms of the country. Yes, ma'am?
One of your pictures was an art thing with yellow and black balloons.
look through here and look at the picture you're talking about so we can look over it. Yes, sir.
Could you drink the water? Safely.
Well, I normally had bottled water. Fizzy water is quite good. I don't recall even trying to drink the tap water. It's probably for the best because the place that we operated from at the university, it was an old, just post-World War II building, and they were renovating it. And walking around, there was no restrooms in the building that I could find. So you had to watch how much you drank. Water or otherwise. Any other questions or comments? It was a fun trip. It was fun to meet the Kosovars. It was good to be thanked for being an American. It doesn't happen much anymore overseas. And it was just a very, very wonderful activity. Right now, as far as I know, I don't think any other American has operated over there yet. License is easy to get. It costs $100 a year for people coming in from outside, and you can pick their call sign. It's got to be Zulu 68 something. And one of these days, we hope we get an official allocation from the ITU, which means that Kosovo has to be a member of the UN. And we're hoping that one of these days that this international political issue will go away. One more question?
What, are they using the euro, or do they have their own currency?
They're using the euro. They're using the euro. So, anything else? Good to be here again, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation. It was a lot of fun being there. Thank you.
How many of you recognize the pop star Dua Lipa? How many of you have heard her song?